SMQBs. This is episode 146. We are back, baby.
Happy New Year.
The
Merry
first
New Year,
episode of
boys.
2024. You thought we were gone, but you can't keep us down. We're back. We got great content. All right, let's start it off. New year, new opening question. House, we're sitting at the bar. Who are you inviting to sit down and why?
Well, I'm inviting Nick Siriani because I would like to throw my drink on him.
Wow. Okay. I like it.
And I'd like to ask him, what on God's green earth are you thinking the last 6 weeks? That's what I'd like to do. I'd really like to sit with Nick at a bar.
Rooster.
Can I follow that one because it relates?
Yes, please. Okay, Bill, go for it.
Because I'd like to. I think it's either Baker or Todd Bowles. I think I'm going to go with Todd Bowles, even though I don't really like him. I really want to know the game plan for next Monday because we couldn't have a more wounded team coming into Tampa. And I really hope to God he has something nice in store on defense, especially
the blitz.
The blitz package.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Todd Bowles.
Yeah, good one. It's a winner.
All right, Rooster, who do you have?
So I used to think about this a lot. Like if I were to have a dinner party, who would be my top invitees? And one person who always makes it from the sports world is Greg Popovich. I think the guy's really interesting. And I would love to sit down with him at a bar and ask him if maybe he should have retired before taking on the Wemby project, because he doesn't seem to be doing Wemby a solid.
Good one.
Interesting. All right. Hope.
I'm having a drink with Mike McCarthy.
Oh.
And I'm asking him, how's he feeling about the next 3 weeks, and is he concerned at all about job security?
3 weeks.
Because
someone fast forwarded their calendar. Wow,
really? That's
you guys hear that? 3 weeks.
Get the confetti out.
He needs to win at least
that's
two
an
of the next 3
optimistic
weeks.
projection there.
Wow.
Is anyone else sensing some arrogance from?
Yeah, I
Hope?
mean,
Wow.
have you not
There's
seen how the
trophies behind
Packers
him.
have been playing?
No,
There's
no arrogance.
trophies behind him.
No
Wow.
arrogance.
I'm surprised he didn't Photoshop a sixth one in there. The way he's acting right now. That's the only thing that's missing. All right. Mike McCarthy. Interesting. Well, if you're inviting someone to sit down at the bar and they can bring their significant other or spouse, I'm probably bringing Jake Browning this week.
Good point.
If you know, you know.
Is she going to be in a ski suit?
But the real person that I want to invite is Luke Littler. Does anybody know who Luke Littler is on here?
No.
Luke Littler is the 16-year-old professional dart competition. Luke the Nuke Littler.
So you're going to invite this 16-year-old to a bar and have a drink with him?
Details. This is my game.
Sounds crazy.
Okay.
He's 16.
Right.
He
Don't
went
let
on
Aaron Rodgers know about that.
He went on a.
You're inviting a 16-year-old to a bar?
We just lost our FCC license.
Well, yeah.
There's there's all sorts of new non-alcoholic beers out there. He's 16. He went on a crazy run in the professional dart championship. He got down. He came in second place. You got to see this stuff online. You got to look for it. The place is packed with Brits, and everybody's hammered on drinking beer and hammered. He can't even drink a beer. He's won something like 200,000 pounds for doing this. He is a sensation. If you have not learned about Luke the Nuke, that is your homework tonight. Go look up
Bison.
Luke the Nuke.
We've got to get Bison a professional sports team. He's now at funny car racing and darts.
This is it. I'm telling you.
This is what happens, guys, when you're in DC. Oh
he's
my
a phenom.
God.
Man.
He's a phenom. He's a phenom. If you don't know, you don't know. Okay. All right.
But could he beat Ted Lasso? That's the big question.
Well, that's a good question. Listen,
He's gonna make a lot of money.
Let's turn to something with less integrity than darts. It's time to talk college football. Okay, who wants to talk about it? We have a national champion. They have been crowned. Milk. What do you think? You look disappointed.
Well, I mean, look, Penix has been my guy all year, and you guys really. I'm surprised you guys never asked me. Is this because he's from Tampa? Do y'all know he's from Tampa?
Nope.
No.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
That's why I like him so much.
Huh.
Yeah, he's.
I did ask.
Okay.
I asked last night during the game why I'm supposed to give a shit about him because he was less than spectacular.
He's very flaccid last night.
He was spectacular against Texas, though. I mean, the guys.
I don't get it.
Go ahead,
I don't
Milk.
see it.
I heard Nate Tice break this down, and I thought it made a lot of sense. But you go ahead, Milk.
No. I'd like to hear the expert.
Well, Nate Tice was comparing Penix to C.J. Stroud, and basically saying that C.J. Stroud needs very little foot space to get off big throws all over the field. He can have his feet right, together and make a great throw. And Penix needs a big wide stance to step into a throw, and he just requires a really clean pocket to make a lot of those throws. And when you get to the best teams in college football and the NFL, the pocket's a lot more chaotic than that. And Nate Tice, whose dad coached Vikings and who was a quarterback in college, was saying that C.J. Stroud is much more made for the NFL than Penix for that reason. Unless Penix learns how to manage himself better, with less of less time necessary to set up to make his throws and less space necessary.
I agree, but I mean, I think that was part of the shocking. What was most shocking last night is there was a lot of times where he had that clean pocket, and he literally would overthrow guys
or throw it to the wrong
yeah.
side. The guy's running a post and he throws it the other side of the guy.
Yeah, I mean, Washington is so dependent on him. They can't run the ball. They have a shitty defense that played well for one quarter. If he doesn't, they live and die by Penix's success, and he played like shit last night.
Yeah,
like the worst game he's had all year, and that's it. Like, honestly, Michigan was very beatable last night. I mean,
I will say this. I mean, and about Michigan, there were running lanes that opened up when Michigan was on defense. And I thought to myself, this is going to be a big play. And it closed immediately. I think that Michigan was just a bigger, stronger, and certainly faster team than Washington. And it showed on those plays. I think I texted in the house. I think you agreed with it. You could see it on the screen. It was like the hole was there. Yeah. And then then it wasn't. And they just closed things
they
so
closed fast and they tackled well.
Michigan's defensive tackles were blowing the offensive guards right into Penix.
Yeah.
They weren't getting past them. They were just pushing them backwards into their own quarterback.
I mean, look, the gold standard for the college football playoff era was the SEC, and you had bookend winners with Ohio State and Michigan. Both of those teams in 14 and this team in 24 played like SEC, big, fast, aggressive teams that were able to play, smash mouth football, which was unlike Pac-12 ever was able to do during the college football playoff era.
Well, I don't know that we're going to slide SEC into this conversation. Sorry.
Other than to say what was the best thing about this championship?
It's a compliment to
no SEC team was in it.
Yeah, it's a compliment to Michigan.
What I would say about Penix is I think he's going to turn out to be a very, very good college story. He has a long, long injury history. And because of his extended years in college, I think he's going to enter the pros somewhere around 23 or 24, which, for a quarterback is different than a running back. But I still think there's a little bit of risk with the guy. He clearly has a very strong arm. He makes some really incredible throws, but his injury history cannot be ignored. And I don't know. I never really thought the game was that close. I think Michigan, anytime they wanted to turn it on, they did. They did with their muscle. And if the game is won in their trenches, both sides of their lines just destroyed Washington. Their offensive line, their defensive line, when they wanted to move, they could.
I don't know. I mean, the surprise to me was the fact that with 9 minutes left in the game, it was a 7-point game, and they were exchanging punts.
Yes.
And before Michigan went on that final drive, to put the nail in, remember the phantom holding call?
Yeah.
Because Washington was going to have the ball on the Michigan 30 with momentum to potentially go in for a tying touchdown, new ball game. So, you can't blame it on that one call. And obviously Washington faded at the end. But I think the biggest surprise to me was the fact that after Michigan came out so strong that the game was only 7 points with 9 minutes left in the game, anybody's game.
And then Washington finally gets a touchdown. And in either the next series or the series after that, they've held Michigan and they've got them deep in their own territory, like at the 10-yard line. They stop them on 2 straight plays. And then McCarthy scrambles up the middle for like 20 or 30 yards. That was a big, I think that was a big
play.
Moment in the game.
Yeah.
Kind of took the wind right out of Washington's sails.
Doesn't that game play out the exact way you would have predicted it? I mean, it was close-ish, but at the end of the day, the bigger, stronger, deeper team just wore them down, and at the end of it was able to sort of exert their will against them. I mean, isn't that what if you really sat down and said, what's probably the way this game plays out? Isn't that exactly it?
Well, it's like Milk alluded, though. I think Michigan, they lost opportunity in the first half to put the game away before halftime. They had, 3 possessions inside Washington's 50. They didn't come out with anything after those first 2 touchdowns. I mean, the game should have been over at halftime.
Yeah.
I think it was never close, but I think there's a couple other things we can say about college football. And part of it segues from this game. First, I think the college football playoff got exactly what they wanted in both the semifinals and the finals. While the score didn't show it at the end, these all 3 games were incredibly entertaining and watchable, more than watchable, great games. But I think we'll probably all agree that Harbaugh is gone, because at the end of the day, which would you rather do? Stay around for players in college who are going to get paid and enter the transfer portal, and you're just doing a money game there, or take bigger money in the NFL game?
Well, throw in the fact that he's going to be investigated again. It's already, underway. They're already throwing allegations at him. He may be suspended again. He's definitely out of there.
Well, look, for 2 things on that. One, he's deep down, Harbaugh is still the NFL guy. I think he's got a lot of baggage from his first stint. I think he desperately wants to win a Super Bowl in his career. And what else does he owe Michigan at this point? He did exactly what he said he would do.
Yeah.
Michigan was terrible, by the way.
Yeah,
before he came.
They couldn't beat Ohio State, period.
Couldn't beat Ohio State.
For the first 5 years, you guys saw the numbers last night. I mean, he had 49-22. He lost 5 straight to Ohio State. Scott Van Pelt actually made a good point last night. He said, was it because Harbaugh was a Michigan man and because they loved him so much, they gave him the rope to finally, after 5 years, he finally broke through, against Ohio State, because other coaches without that legacy at Michigan would have been out of there. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. I think what's going to be interesting is Washington Commanders. Do you guys go after Harbaugh, or do you elevate Bieniemy?
Well, that's a good segue right there. Into the NFL. No, they won't go for either of those guys. Harbaugh, I think you're right. Harbaugh leaves Michigan, goes to the NFL, and ends up in LA with the Chargers.
That's my guess.
There's a couple coaches out there who, if they're going to do it, they want the quarterback, and they're going to want more control than they're going to get in Washington. And Harbaugh's one of them, and Belichick's the other. That's why all the talk about Belichick to DC is bogus.
Problem with the Chargers, though, is the Spanos ownership has never embraced a strong coach or a GM.
Yeah. Well, and look at where they are.
I know.
Right. So I think that's where he ends up, though. He's a California guy. You know, he's going to go out there and he's going to take over that team. That's what I think.
So who do you think the Commanders get?
Well, you know, let's close it out on college then and go into Black Monday, right? There's a bunch of firings yesterday, although a bunch of firings in season. So yesterday was a little less than sometimes what you see. You know, I think the most noteworthy thing to talk about in Washington is how Harris has put together this group of consultants, including the guy from the Golden State Warriors, Myers. So he's reached across outside of the NFL and brought in Myers and Spielman. They're going to go for one of the young gun coordinators. They've reached out to the two guys in Detroit, Johnson and what's his name?
Johnson's like 34 years old.
Yeah, the coordinator in Detroit, and then the defensive coordinator, and they've put in. I guess they say they put in these slips to talk to these guys. They want to talk to McDonald from Baltimore, Weaver from Baltimore, Ricky Morris. So they're gonna go for a young gun, and they're gonna also probably find. I guess there's a young executive in the 49ers organization who's really highly regarded, and he turned down interviews last year, and he's already accepted one with Washington. And they think part of that is from this connection with Myers, the guy from the Golden State Warriors, who knows him from the Bay Area and everything. And so, you know, it's going to be really interesting what they do, but it's not going to be a retread. It's not going to be someone. They're going to find a hot young exec, and then they're going to find a you know, young hungry coordinator to come in Washington.
You can have Wink Martindale.
That's
no, but I know Martindale wants a head coaching job. I don't think he's going to get one.
No.
But he might not mind being the defensive coordinator to a young up and coming head coach. That might be a decent fit. Like, I think some of these guys, I predicted the Commanders will get a young coordinator, a young up and comer, and then surround him with strong older defensive coordinators, maybe even an offensive coordinator, and see how it goes. So that they can build around that guy. I think we can already probably fill in the blank of Vrabel to the Patriots. I mean, that seems to be one of the most obvious moves.
Yeah.
I think Belichick's going to be left out of a job.
No,
he needs to take a sabbatical at least.
No,
No, he's going to be a special assistant to Nick Saban next year, as where all coaches go for reclamation projects.
20 grand a year.
Every time Pope slips in an SEC or Alabama reference, drink.
We have to drink.
No, I think he ends up in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Atlanta.
No.
Atlanta?
Bill Belichick?
No,
Yeah.
he doesn't want to go to Atlanta.
Oh. Which one have you guys been most surprised of? I guess is it the Titans?
Vrabel,
Yeah.
And who's to come, you think?
Listen to this crazy. Listen to this about before we move on from Vrabel, because that one blew me away. Okay, this guy was a coach for 6 years there, made the playoffs 3 times, was coach of the year 1 year, and listen to his quarterbacks over these years: Marcus Mariota, Ryan Tannehill, Blaine Gabbert, Malik Willis, Josh Dobbs, Will Levis. How do you fire that guy with turning that shit into gold?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounds like they're just cleaning house there. Like, Derek's not coming back, so they're just going with a totally new approach.
I don't know. You got a good young coach. I mean, you got a guy who could have been. He strikes me as a comp to Tomlin. in some ways, right? I mean, I know he had the losing season this year, but he seemed like that guy who's, tough guy, respected by the players, communicates well.
Or is he like Jack Del Rio, though? I mean, another perceived tough guy.
I still have a lot of battle scars from Del Rio. Can we not talk? I have nothing nice to say.
Well, a job opening will be there, whether you're shocked or not. There will be a job opening in Philadelphia.
No.
Yes, there will be.
You've got to be
kidding me?
I think there will also be a job opening created by the previous Eagles coach in Jacksonville. I think he's gone.
You think so?
Maybe. There were some sacrificial lambs today. There was like a running backs coach and somebody else in Jacksonville, and Peterson was meeting with the owner, but I think he's going to hang on.
What was their record at the end of the year? Something like 1-6.
Yeah,
they were supposed to win the division.
They were 8-3, and then they
were 8-3.
How?
And then it's supposed to win the division. Peterson has had exactly one winning season, and that was the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
They need stability. They've had so much turnover there.
That was the Urban Meyer experiment, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but House, wait a minute. So I have a question for you. You think Siriani gets canned? And can we agree that if Dallas goes out in their first game, McCarthy gets canned?
I think,
yes.
By the way, I think this is a hot rumor around here that Bowles is out if he doesn't beat Philly.
So how many?
Well, then you're stuck with Bowles.
A lot of coaches livelihoods on the line on Sunday, Saturday.
How many playoff coaches
stuck
are
with Bowles and Baker after Monday night?
I mean, how many playoff coaches are going to get fired?
No.
I
mean,
how about if Buffalo loses to Pittsburgh? McDermott could be in trouble too.
Well, that's not happening.
No, they came on.
Look, I don't believe House as much as he wants to dramatize this, but we should not be in the playoffs. So 9-8.
Oh my God!
Stop.
What?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Cincinnati's 9-8.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 5-1 since the beginning of December. They have allowed 16.3 points on average over the last 6 games, second in the NFL. Their defense is suffocating.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Now we're getting carried away a little.
Wait a minute.
Easy.
I want you to understand what's happening right here. This is the softening of America. Listeners, you are hearing it live on the podcast. You have an Eagles fan and a Bucs fan. They're playing each other. Not one piece of shit talk to each other about who's winning the game. Instead, their spines have been cracked. They're both saying who's going to lose worse. That's it. This is it. China, what?
The excuses are already flowing.
Start practicing your Mandarin, American.
Either that, or they're trying to out Jedi mind trick each other.
No,
are we a data-driven sports podcast or not? The Eagles.
We're not.
Okay, that's true.
Not
but if we were, we would say that the Eagles are 1-5 in their last 6, averaging, giving up 30.3 points, including to the Cardinals and the Giants.
Toby, we all want to say that, but we're afraid
the
you won't
most
speak to any
amazing
of us for a week.
turnaround in a long time, no doubt.
We wanted to say this. We wanted to say
but
this
the
for a
Bucs
month
aren't
that the
great
Eagles
either.
suck.
No, you did.
We're afraid you won't talk to us for a couple days.
I probably won't, but the thing is,
because he's in trial.
Listen, I talk shit more than anyone on this podcast, and I want to desperately talk shit.
And you're so bad at it too. It's
so
pathetic.
Well, you've never seen Glenn Ross, so that's your fault. But
come on!
Come on,
Gary Glenn Ross.
I want to very badly.
Here, please.
We got absolutely blown out by the New Orleans. Looked terrible. Baker Mayfield has a serious rib injury and twisted his ankle. We couldn't score a touchdown against Carolina. I want to talk shit. I want to say we're going to win.
Talk about your defense.
Against Bryce Young? And he doesn't have an offensive line. Literally. I mean, maybe we'll win because you're collapsing too, but I mean, this game could end.
There's some positivity.
I'm sending you guys both kittens.
There's a reason this is the last game.
Oh God,
Of-
I know.
I
Is this
feel
the
bad.
one-
I feel
This
bad
is-
for
could
Joe
they put
Buck
this
and Troy
one on-
Aikman. They
could
got to
they
call
put this
that
one
piece
on,
of shit.
on Peacock, please? Why is this not the one that's on the Peacock?
Oh, you have to
network, right?
all watch it.
Let's
Yeah.
let's
What
move
is up
away
with the Peacock having a game? That's ridiculous.
let's move away from this like Saturday afternoon bowling game. We don't need to watch Pete Weber Saturday afternoon. Let's talk about real games that are occurring, because there are some other NFL games that are real with real talent. So can we talk about the Rams, who are
The
7-1
Rams are
in their
the
last 8 games?
what a
Watch
story
out.
the Rams are this year.
Watch out. Watch
Yeah.
out.
Wait, are
Detroit.
you about to bring Carson Wentz into this conversation?
I'd like to, but I mean, everybody. I don't know. Like, what time is that Rams Lions game?
Sunday night.
Sunday night at 8:00.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
NBC.
definitely the best story of the weekend, right? Staff
Sure,
back
yeah.
in Detroit,
Yeah.
playing against
Now,
Goff.
how about this?
Goff trying to get his revenge.
They come into the season and lose Cooper Kupp almost immediately, right? And they're supposed to be kind of a rebuilding year. And they've got superstar rookies who were the 164th pick in Kyrene Williams
Wow,
Who's
and
that?
Puka Nakua, 177th pick.
That's
I did
pretty
not
amazing.
know those draft
the-
picks. Wow,
It's amazing that those two guys are studs for the Rams this year, and nobody knew who they were at the
I
end of
didn't
the
know
draft.
they
Nakua
were.
beat Justin Jefferson's rookie record.
Yep.
Yeah.
Most receptions and most yards.
Look, who has more pressure on them? Detroit or LA? Detroit, massive pressure.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
hosted a game in how many years? 30?
93.
106.
Plus Goff has
31
got to
years.
be putting a ton of pressure on
31
himself.
years. Goff again. I mean, I think the Rams, this is the worthy of a potential upset, in my opinion.
Look,
Is-
I may rue this comment, but
other than
I
Green
did
Bay.
not want to play the Rams. I wanted the Packers. I wanted the Rams to beat the Niners. I did not want the Rams coming with Matt Staff to, Highland Park boy. I did not want them coming in town. So, like
You
I said,
will
I
not
might-
regret that.
I might regret that.
Does anyone seriously? This is a nice development of Jordan Love, but does anyone seriously think the Pack can even keep that game close?
Yes.
No.
They
Yeah.
were
You
a
do?
good second half team. So here's a
Yeah.
stat for you. In the last 8 games, Jordan Love,
Upset.
18 touchdowns, 1 interception. They are on fire, dude. I am,
They should have
they're
started
gonna
that
cause
guy
all
3
kinds
years
of
ago.
problems.
I can't wait to see how Dallas shits the bed and blows it. Cannot
Oh,
wait.
man.
It's going to be
It
so
is.
entertaining.
Look,
Green Bay's defense is so suspect.
yeah,
dude.
I know.
And
Look,
the Cowboys
here's
offense
the deal.
should be able
At the
to
end of
roll.
the third quarter, if the Cowboys don't have a double-digit lead, you're going to see a national sphincter closing as the Jerry's in the Jerry world just starts to close on itself, because all the PTSD, all the
be clear, Pope.
PTSD and scar tissue for the last 26 years is coming back, and it'll be ugly.
Pope, just to be clear though about America's team, everybody in the country is rooting for Green Bay except Texas, and probably half of Texas is rooting for Green Bay too.
Well, I don't know, Bison. I mean, you were at the Washington game with what, 60,000 Cowboy fans? I think we still
Yeah,
are
but-
America's team.
You are not America's team.
No.
Everybody knows Kansas City is America's team right now.
Oh,
Thank you very
please.
much, Tay-Tay.
Whatever.
Does anyone think that joke of an excuse for a quarterback Tua has any chance against the Chiefs in Kansas City?
In 0-degree weather, less than
No way.
0. No way.
No.
Okay,
And especially with the injuries on that team.
Yeah.
No,
Waddle
so
and
we can dispense
Mostert
with that.
out.
They're a zombie
I think
team.
I
They're
actually,
a
even though
zombie team.
Tua's
They're
had a great year,
done.
I think that they will be looking at whether he's going to take them to the next level. I don't think he can.
And
He's
you
a
know,
good.
All right.
He's a good quarterback. He's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback, in my opinion.
I don't know. When they had Tyreek and Waddle and A-Chain and Mustard going, those guys, they
They
were
weren't
one of
beating
the
anybody
best
good.
offense.
I
They
in the
weren't beating
league.
anybody good.
I
So is that a
like
defense issue, not offense?
Oh, that's true
No.
too.
I don't
Well-
think Tua has a very good ability to go to second and third options.
yeah. The offense is set up for him to hit his first guy. There's some interesting stories here, but does anybody really care about Cleveland, Houston?
The massage ball?
The
Come
massage
on.
ball.
Yeah.
I love it.
I care about CJ
Yeah.
Stroud.
I like
think
the
it'd be
Stroud
awesome
story.
if he won
I
that
said
game.
there's some good stories, but
Hey,
I mean, somebody
Hey,
has
us-
to win that game and get eliminated the
us
next
old
week, right?
timers
That's
kind
how
of
it-
like the Joe Flacco story.
Joe
That's
Flacco's
a
story is
great
great.
story.
Flacco.
And I
like
think
that.
the Cleveland defense is great. And they've overcome a lot of injuries. And that's a team. Cleveland and
Look.
Detroit haven't won in forever. Either one of those cities winning would be pretty good. It's you guys remember a couple years ago how exciting it was to see Cincinnati all of a sudden catch fire with Burrow. It's the same thing. If Cleveland or Detroit does that, it's a similar good story.
But we were talking
Cleveland's favored in Houston.
Yeah.
And plus defenses get better in the playoffs. I mean, they have a lot of time to make a lot of adjustments, and which is why I think Tua will struggle. But don't you think that the Packers will figure out just double cover CC Lamb or CD Lamb every play?
I like CC better, but
lay some big hits on that little tiny running back, and then Dallas is screwed.
We have got to get Rooster a job in the NFL. We've got to make him a head coach.
I mean, do you think Dak has the ability to transition off of Lamb if that's never open?
Well, he has
They have
been
a
with
very
Cooks
good tight
and Jake
end.
Ferguson.
They have a very good tight end.
Yeah,
Look,
but he's not. Jake Ferguson's not going to beat you. He's going to make some good plays.
How
Lamb
did we
is going to
start?
beat you.
How did we start this NFL year? I said it did not matter what happened in the regular season. Dallas could go 17-0, which I didn't expect, and all that matters is the next 2, maybe 3 weeks. They have got to make the NFC Championship game. Anything less than that is an abject failure, and all the things you want to say about Dak will come back, on steroids. It's it. It's up to Dak. It's up to the team. There's no other thing other than produce and win playoffs. That's all that matters here. That is all that matters.
Adversity makes you stronger, so I hope you get stronger, Pope.
Detroit, LA might be the most interesting game.
Yep.
But after that, I got to tell you, I think it's Tampa, Philly.
No.
I think it's Tampa, Philly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like watching darts.
Yeah, I do.
I have secured my tickets.
I just think I love Mike Tomlin. With TJ Watt out, there's no shot for the Steelers.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen is just I mean, he could do too much without pressuring him, and it's going to be too hard.
And I think that game might be played in below zero weather.
Is
It's
right.
brutal.
Would anyone be shocked to see the Bills in the Super Bowl? I wouldn't.
No, not now.
No.
I mean,
It's really
which is crazy.
the sad thing about this whole playoff this year is 3 of the most exciting teams early in the season are on a huge backslide.
Yeah.
The Eagles, KC, and Miami.
It's amazing. The
Yeah.
narrative. The Rams were terrible in the beginning.
Yeah, no, we wrote them off.
Yeah. It's crazy what's happening.
Well, I think they expected to be kind of a rebuild this year.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
look, it's still the 49ers and Ravens who are controlling the.
I think that's right. I think they're prohibitive favorites in both leagues. I really do.
Yeah. It'll be tough.
all right.
I don't know. Cleveland at Baltimore would be an epic match.
Epic, really? I don't know. Has Cleveland ever been used in the same sense of the word epic before?
It's
Just
been a
when
while.
their lake was on fire. That was an epic fire. But
Yeah.
other than that, not really.
Been a
It's
while
like
since the drive and the fumble.
It's
guess
an old school football
Leroy Kelly
matchup,
days.
grinding matchup.
Bernie Kosar.
On the football. Yeah.
Exactly what the NFL has tried to get away from for a decade now, right? An old school grinding, run the football, 6-3 score.
6-3.
Well, I guess, yeah.
So do we? So
does seem-
what is the most likely upset this weekend? You think?
Rams.
And I don't.
Rams.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Philly or Cleveland being an upset, especially since they're favored.
Philly's
Well,
favored by
And if
And the
Miami
Eagles,
wins,
and if you want to call the Bucks an upset, it would be
Well,
the Bucks.
Miami,
but-
but I don't.
Are
that's
you
not-
saying that? Wait, were you saying the Eagles winning is an upset?
No, I don't
No.
see that as
Okay.
an.
All right,
They're
let's
favored
do
by
it.
3.
Let's do it, guys. Let's go through. Everyone give your picks. Come on. Milk.
I'll take.
Don't worry
All
about
the
the
games?
points. All the games. Don't worry about the points. Just tell us who's
Okay,
winning.
I will take the Texans, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Packers, the Rams, and I'll take the Bucks.
Whoa.
Hope.
I got the I got the Browns, the Chiefs, the Bills, Cowboys, Lions, and Philly.
All right. I got Houston, Kansas City, Buffalo, Green Bay, LA, and Tampa.
Shocked you took Kansas City. Shocked.
all
Everybody's
right,
gonna take Kansas City.
as much as I love CJ Stroud,
Tay.
their running game sucks, and I think they're just happy to be there. I think Cleveland takes care of business. KC, Buffalo, Green Bay,
I love
Rams,
it.
and the Eagles.
Wow.
Wait for see if her house can make it unanimous.
House.
Come on, pick.
I'm going with the Browns, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Cowboys,
Ugh.
the Rams,
Don't do it. Do not do it.
Oh, he's doing it.
and the Bucks.
Don't you dare.
There
No,
he
that
is.
is ridiculous.
It's happening. I have to acknowledge it. It's happening.
The guy's
my
got
God.
Baker on his
Are you
damn
kidding me?
screen.
Oh God.
Holy shit.
He's lost the locker
this-
room. He's lost everything.
So
Is he
done.
four
really
out of the
going to get
5 of his
fired?
I think he's going to get fired. Jeff Lurie was embarrassed by what happened with Chip Kelly a year after Chip had an amazing run, and then he embarrassed the team. He's lost the locker room, and I think Jeff Lurie is going to have a decision. Am I going to basically ruin the development of a $230 million quarterback and have a star wide receiver force his way out of town? Or am I going to bring in a coach that can chill out Jalen, make AJ Brown happy, and return us right back to where we were? We can get
isn't
right
that
back.
Bill Belichick? You just described him
That
right there.
sounds like Brian.
I-
It does.
No.
I
That
have
sounds
a, I have,
exactly
I,
like Belichick.
I have a
It does
theory.
sound like
I have
Belichick.
Yeah, he could make Hurts comfortable.
I have a
Right.
theory about part of the problem with the Eagles right now, and it's that your center, Kelsey, is way too interested in television commercials and is like losing weight left and right, so he looks nice on TV, and he's not playing like a Pro Bowl center anymore.
Are
And
you saying
Isn't he-
Tay is behind
I
this?
think it's
It all
affecting.
Wasn't
I think
comes
it's
down from
affecting
Tay
your
Tay.
quarterback
Sister-in-law,
play.
sister-in-law.
Isn't he the All-Pro? Wasn't he All-Pro this year?
Yeah, you don't look good. You don't look good. He looks
Wow.
like he weighs about 225 right now.
He's
You gotta
always been a
look
light
good.
center.
Look, my
Anyway.
theory on the Eagles is that when Big Dom got booted, you guys went to shit.
Very true.
Look at the record.
Big Dom is back on the sidelines this week.
1 in
By the way-
5 since Big Dom got booted.
Your best bet, Milk, is to have someone make a run at Big Dom in the middle of the game.
Hey,
No way.
one last thing on the NFL. I do want to mention, Eric Bieniemy. It's an interesting situation. That guy's stock was so high. Everybody was wondering why he didn't get a head coaching job. He comes to Washington. First of all, the offense was worse than it was the year
Scott,
before.
what's his face?
Scott
Worse.
Turner, worse. And in the locker cleanout interviews yesterday, the reviews of Bieniemy were not good. They were
Yell
not
at people.
good.
He hurt their
Well,
feelings.
I if that's what it is, then I don't like that with the players. But there was a lot of guys saying things like we didn't have any balance on offense, we didn't run the ball enough. And there were some games there where they had like 9 running, like Brian Robinson touched the ball 9 times. I know this because he was on my fantasy team. But I don't know. Anyway, Bieniemy's stock, I think his stock went down.
Yep.
He should still get a shot, but I think he hurt himself this year.
Look,
coming
if
to
he
Washington.
has a toxic personality, like these players seem to indicate, then the
Yep.
situation in Las Vegas shows us that changing away from that really matters. And
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce has done a hell of a job replacing Josh McDaniels.
And by the way, the same players who were critical of Bieniemy were super loyal to Rivera. I mean, they all said, we got to change. We're not winning. There's got to be change. But they all came up and said what a wonderful human he was and how he cared about them, and they would have run through a brick wall for him. And they just regretted that he lost his job. So anyway, anything else on NFL? Did we get everybody's picks? We got everyone's picks in? All right. Let the carnival begin. All right, I think next up we got a punchable face. Anybody got a punch?
Of course, somebody has a punch.
I've
Who wants to go first? Who wants to go first?
On the left. I've got a glove on the left and the right.
Oh,
my
good.
very quick punch is this Panthers owner David Tepper throwing a drink on fans was just ridiculously disgusting, and his apology was even worse, where he was like, he basically quasi blamed it on the fans. But anyway, what a jerk. He deserves a punch for that.
He's a horrible owner as well.
Horrible owner. Should be punched.
He also said it was an expensive drink.
He's like, hey, you guys, any of you miss Dan Snyder?
Yeah, hold my drink.
Not hold my drink. Wear my drink.
Wear my drink.
But my right glove is reserved for a hockey fight.
Oh, yeah.
Because congrats to the U.S. Men's World Junior Hockey team that went on to win the championship last week. Our junior hockey program is fantastic. That's all great. Last year, the Flyers selected with the number 2 overall pick this kid named Cutter Gauthier. He's a very promising future first line center. When he was drafted on draft night, he said he loved wearing the orange and black. His mom's from Philadelphia. He's long loved the orange and black. He can't wait to get started. Then something happened. No one really knows yet what, but he pulled this thing, which young athletes are starting to pull. We might see it from Caleb Williams, and if we do, I might punch him too. But you haven't done anything in the pros yet. You don't get to call your shots. And basically he started saying, I'm not going to show up and play for the Flyers. We had 2 lifers in hockey get worried about it. Really good guys. Keith Jones, Danny Briere, currently the leadership of the Flyers, got on a plane, flew over to Sweden to try to set up meetings with this kid. He wouldn't even give them a meeting. And ultimately, quietly behind the scenes, once Briere saw everything on the wall, he traded him away. He got a second-round pick and a young, promising defenseman, not as promising, but a promising defenseman from the Anaheim Ducks. And everybody was freaking out last night on Philadelphia sports Twitter that we had lost Gauthier. I just think forget about the fact that I'm a homer. I get that. I just don't like when these kids do this. I don't like regardless of the sport, I don't think when you get drafted, we've said it before, when you sign a contract, people criticized Harden before and other people, when you shouldn't be able to write your own ticket out of town, particularly before you ever set foot on the ice in professional. He is going to get crushed, killed, punched, batteries thrown at him, you name it. He's going to be murdered when he finally comes to Philly.
That's the Philly special right there.
Yeah,
that's why I never warmed up to Manning on the Giants.
Yeah.
He refused to show up and play for the Chargers. And he and his dad, concocted this deal where he winds up with the Giants. And Phillip Rivers goes to the Chargers. I never really liked him after that.
Yeah, he got you 2 Super Bowls.
How old is this kid?
I mean, I'm happy he got us 2 Super Bowls.
This has been going on for Elway did this, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
this is nothing new.
It's nothing.
But it doesn't mean they shouldn't be punched.
Yeah.
It's not new. It's still
I don't think it bothers him to be punched.
Hunter Gauthier is 19 years old.
Yeah.
19.
Yeah. He's done in Philly.
Whatever. He drafted 5th overall in the first round, and now the guy thinks whatever. Good luck, Anaheim, with this kid. Never put him on the ice in Philly ever.
The steak place was pretty epic though.
Yeah.
LBS.
Yeah. Delco Steaks says that he's being treated for little bitch syndrome. So LBS. So he and others like him, like Ben Simmons, people suffer from LBS, aren't welcome at Delco Steaks.
Yeah, that's great. That was funny. All right. Anybody else have a punch?
I've got one. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Good. They're lining up.
This year.
I am going to enter Aaron Rodgers into our Punchable Face Hall of Fame because this has got to be at least number 4 or 5 for that.
At
bitch.
least.
This guy is such an asshole.
Yeah.
And this whole thing with with the Epstein accusations is just disgusting. Right?
Yeah.
He's got no evidence whatsoever, and he throws out this inference of an allegation that Jimmy Kimmel was on the Epstein Island, having sex with underage girls. How reckless and irresponsible. And the whole reason behind it is the whole reason why he's been punched every other time. He's an insecure little bitch who can't stand the fact that Travis Kelce's getting all this attention right now. I'm surprised Aaron Rodgers didn't beg some woman to go to the Golden Globes with him last night because he can't stand the fact that he's not the center of attention. He's a fucking asshole, and he needs to shut his pie hole and win some games because just because the guy went to community college and then got a football scholarship to Cal does not make him a smart, interesting person. I don't know who the hell he thinks he is. He's not that smart.
Do you hold it against Pat McAfee for giving him a platform to do that?
A little bit. I think Pat McAfee needs to step up and control his guests a little better than that.
Yeah, he seemed like he thought that would be a rating generator.
He's a candidate for a sharp elbow to the ribs.
Yeah, Pat McAfee pays.
He's getting close.
Especially he just
McAfee's
went after ESPN. His
McAfee's
employer.
paying Rodgers $1 million in appearance fees to come on that show.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah.
Say that again?
Pat McAfee, the Pat McAfee show, paid Aaron Rodgers $1 million to appear on the show this year.
Wow, somebody needs to get punched for that.
Yeah.
I got a punch that Milk might even enjoy.
I think I knew where you're going with this.
Famous Jameis Winston.
Nice.
How in the world?
Come on.
How in the world did he get
What
in
in the world?
this NFL season? What could he possibly have done? Allegedly, it hadn't been proven, I guess. Dennis Allen, the coach for the Saints, told the Saints to take the victory formation. They were up 41-17 against the lowly Falcons. Game was in the final seconds. Jameis says they got in the huddle and they decided they want to give Jamal Williams an opportunity to get his one and only touchdown for the year. He had led the league last year, so they felt like they needed to get him one touchdown. Lord knows why. It wasn't like he's going to get kicked off the team if he doesn't get a touchdown.
The fantasy football league owners were threatening him because of the ones who had him the year before all drafted him.
Well, anybody who had fantasy football in week 18 should be punched anyway for stupidity. But anyway, they instead of taking the victory and Taysom Hill was back, guarding for a turnover and a fake knee by Jameis, handoff to Jamal, gets his touchdown, and all chaos ensues. Arthur Smith, who's now dearly departed from the Falcons, comes up and confronts Dennis Allen and said, F you, that's bullshit move, et cetera. And Dennis Allen was saying, it wasn't me. I mean, you talk about losing your team. And then Jameis, in the interview, Jameis is like, he's like, well, I'm not worried about playing the Falcons again. Probably not, because he'll probably won't be on the team. But, the team decided they wanted to do it. We didn't listen to our coach.
It was a unanimous offensive poll or something like that, right? Isn't that what he said? It was a unanimous decision by the offense in the huddle.
Yes, sua sponte, in the huddle, we decided we're going to ignore and disrespect our coach.
I'm surprised Jameis didn't say it was unanimous The vote was 6-5.
Yeah.
That's
I'll-
funny.
Can you imagine next year if Atlanta goes in the victory formation against the Saints? Oh,
Oh,
multiple
Yeah.
times.
they're gonna go some Hail
Yeah.
Mary
yeah.
pass
I like the
Bijan
rivalry.
Robinson might have 6 touchdowns the next time they play.
straight up the
Right?
middle. Full,
Yeah.
full speed.
I'm just excited that Jameis got punched like first time in 2024. It's been a while.
He's probably excited too. He's at least he's getting some attention.
Yeah.
That's
He's getting
funny.
some airplay.
Yes.
Milk, do you have a punch?
That was it. Mine was going to be Winston, so
All right. All
took
right.
care of it. So I wanted
right.
to make sure he was punched.
Does anybody have a lasso?
Oh God.
Well, 24 is off to a good start. we got villains all over the place and no heroes. Okay, that's good. How about buzzer beaters?
My quick buzzer beater is, can we just end all other college bowls except the college football playoff, especially now that they're expanding to 12. Now that we're expanding to 12, you're seeing the teams that you want to see. Maybe there will be a little bit of debate about who should have been 12 versus 13 or 14, but nobody goes the other ones. Everybody's in the transfer portal now. The real players aren't playing. The whole thing is a farce.
Coaches have already accepted new jobs.
Yeah, exactly. I think we should just be done with the bowls.
Yeah.
Nobody watches them, and we should
sad.
just be done. We should be done with them except for the playoff.
It's really sad what's happened.
It is.
We used
I mean, a
to-
bowl used to be a reward for a good
You mean
season, and now
it's really sad what
you're
happened.
6
What's
and
happened to
6 and
college
you go to
football?
a bowl.
Yeah.
It's sad what happened to college football. My God, who's been saying that all year? Milk, I'm glad
No,
you
I
see
do-
things my way now.
Hey, look, Boise State got that unbelievable recruit. You're
That's
now
right.
in a situation where these teams can get great players. But like the Outback Bowl here used to be sold out every single year, and there's 30,000 people. It's half empty.
Yeah.
And the Heisman
I
Trophy.
will.
What is it like SEC 5 versus Big Ten
Drink.
6 or
Drink.
you know?
He said SEC.
What-
Yeah.
SEC. I will say something
And it was sold
about
out.
college football. There was a really good interview. A lot of people probably listen to the New York Times podcast called The Daily every day, and there was a good story on there this week about the money in college sports. And
It was great.
and it's worth a listen. But I will say this: it did make me think a little bit differently about some of it. We hear about these name, image, likeness contracts for guys like Arch Manning, who's getting paid $6 million and hasn't taken a snap yet or whatever. But I did think it was really compelling to hear the stories of the guys who come from really poor upbringings. Talking to the linemen at Texas who were getting paid $50,000 and what they were doing with the money. And one guy said he bought his mom her first cell phone ever. For a lot of these guys, the ones who aren't getting millions of dollars and probably aren't going to play in the NFL, but are getting a little bit of money, it was really interesting to hear how it's helped their families and help them take care of parents, siblings, their children in some cases. But it's worth a listen. And it did kind of open my eyes a little bit to some of the, again, not the multi-million-dollar contracts that you're hearing, but the guys who are getting, what is effectively a decent salary in the United States of America in 2024, but how it makes a difference for them. I'd encourage people to listen to that.
Yeah.
I have a
quick buzzer
prediction.
beater.
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
We talked about it earlier. At least we texted about it. After 27 years, Tiger Woods officially left Nike, and we talked about the relationship between Tiger and Nike, and obviously Michael Jordan. I mean, had a movie about it, but Michael Jordan was the GOAT that got Nike where it was, the behemoth that it is.
Bo
Tiger
Nose was the GOAT.
Not over Michael.
Well, but you can't forget about Bo Jackson.
No.
He and Michael made Nike.
Given, but Tiger, at least from a golf standpoint, I mean, he made about $500 million over 27 years, but he generated billions in revenue for golf apparel for Nike. I guess Nike is probably getting out of, they're certainly out of the equipment business, but are they now going to get out of the apparel business as well? Because they're losing their guys. Jason Day left them as well. I guess Rory may be leaving them. So Tiger leaving.
Spieth, who can't make a 3-foot putt.
Well, he's with Under Armour, always has been.
Oh no, who's the other guy? Who's the other American that's with Nike?
Well, there are a number of them.
There's a lot of
but
Bison's with him.
yes, that's right. Tiger leaving Nike. Right? I mean, think about the shot on 16 at the Masters when the height of Tigerism and the ball rolled in with the swoosh into the cup, as Vern Lundquist said, "In your life, have you ever seen?" I mean, that's an iconic moment for Nike, and this is the end of an era with him, Tiger Woods.
It's true. I mean, but I think we can all agree Bo Jackson made Nike. So
yeah,
no,
and
I'm not going to agree.
I think it was probably Bo.
Yeah,
you know what I never understood about the whole Nike Tiger thing is they made those balls especially for Tiger, but the balls they sold the public suck. I mean, what kind of a business plan is that? Their golf club, they tried making golf clubs for a while. They were terrible.
Are you sure it was
what
the
do you
ball?
mean the ball sucked?
Yeah, Rooster.
How many amateurs do you know go out and play with Nike balls? Ever? None. I'd rather play with Kirkland balls than Nike balls.
Hey, Pope, do you know the first shoe that Nike made exclusively for one college basketball team?
Is there any chance
North Carolina
that it was for
No,
Georgetown?
probably Georgetown.
It was the Hoyas. It was the Terminator.
What a shock. Oh, my God.
I was just trying to walk the Carolina guy into it. House, come on. So, yeah. So Georgetown and Bo Jackson made Nike.
That's what we've accomplished.
Good show, guys.
So really,
Good
John
show.
Thompson.
But Nike is still a big player in college football because Michigan is the first Jumpman team to win a national championship.
Oh, way to bring it all around. Good job, Pope.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody got anything else? We got to end it there.
I got my annual NFL draft predictions.
Oh, good.
You're gonna like this. You're gonna like this, Bison.
Whoa.
The Commanders trade up and take Caleb Williams, number 1.
I will like that.
The Bears probably take Marvin Harrison, and then the Pats at number 3 make a massive mistake and draft Drake May, who turns into the next Mitchell Trubisky.
Or Sam
Howell.
Or Sam Howell.
Or Daniel
Jones. Move up and do that?
Or Mac Jones. He could be maybe a little better than Mac Jones, maybe not. I don't think he's NFL.
I like it. I like everything about it.
Early predictions.
I like that. I like everything about it. All right, guys.
All right,
show.
let the games go this weekend.
Welcome back to the new year, and we'll see y'all next week.
Congrats, Milk. Congrats, Milk.